I pressed it once.
We play straight up.
Hello, welcome everyone to Tango Live with Winnie. This is the last episode of 2020. And guess where we are with Tango Live with Winnie today? We're in Australia. Welcome to Tango in Australia. Hi everyone.
Hey Winnie.
We have today, as per the mission of Tango Live with Winnie, I am here to join you with the larger tango community all over the world. We started with Argentina and now we're going to travel a little bit, 15 hours over west to Australia, and perhaps we'll go to Antarctica next. But my wish is that we all be one as one community, musicians, dancers, art lovers, or people that don't know tango at all to actually get to know this beautiful dance form. So today we have Diez Cuerdas. Diez Cuerdas means 10 strings. I do see a few more than 10 strings here on screen. And so that's why we have Diez Cuerdas with Chloe Williamson, our wonderful bassist over there to the right. So then today we have 14 strings. Before I gloat about these wonderful young people from Brisbane, Australia, hey boys and girls, would you like to play us a song first?
We'd love to. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
What song are you going to play?
Felicia.
Hey.
My Spanish is not great. So
Perfect.
I get other people to pronounce it.
All right.
All good?
Diez Cuerdas with Chloe Williamson from Brisbane, Australia are our guests today on Tango Live with Winnie. Thank you, boys and girls. Guess what? It's 7 o'clock in Brisbane, 37 degrees Celsius. That's about like what, 98 degrees Fahrenheit over there. Hey, and
Oh,
is
it'd be cooler today.
anybody
It's
available
feeling like
to
it here.
open the door a little bit so we can hear your cicadas blasting strong? Open a little bit. Can we hear it? It's not feedback, people. This is. Let's hear it.
All I can hear is rainbow lorikeets. But,
Do you hear birds in Australia? Oh, thank you for letting us hear
I'll close that
that.
again.
So, I do want to clarify that we're now in Brisbane, in the state of Queensland, where they had not had any COVID cases since late September. Is that right? And quarantine restriction has been lifted. There has been a transition from live streaming gigs to real in-person live gigs since about end of September and October. So these boys and girls are really happy playing live gigs in Australia, and that's why they are not wearing their mask. It's not because we're negligent. It's in Queensland, Australia. If you can make it over there, you are safer than in most places right now.
Yeah.
Or New Zealand is totally
New Zealand is also
all
yeah,
restrictions
a
gone.
haven.
Yeah.
They're playing live gigs. But thank you, Australia, for playing for us. So my first question, and I think a lot of people's question is, why tango? Why for you? Because, I mean, Australia is really not that far away from anywhere. It's down the street from Hong Kong, where I'm from. So as far as I know, it's definitely part of our world. But my question is, there was no R.C. Victor recording in New Jersey back in the 1920s. There was a Parisian craze in the 1920s for tango. There was no tango explosion in Australia in the 20s that I am aware of. So tango is, compared to that part of the tango history, it's a bit newer, isn't it? And so the fact that there is a vibrant tango live music scene in Australia, a lot of us don't know that because of this separate part of the history. So before I get into the history of tango in Australia, can I ask each one of you, there's Liz Young here on violin, Rory Dollard on guitar, and Chloe Williamson on double bass. Can I ask you all, why tango? What is so attractive about tango that made you want to play it in wherever you are? In that case, it's Australia.
So I think my first case of tango was watching True Lies, and then maybe a few years later, Scent of a Woman, Purina Caveza, and for me that was tango. I was like, that's it. I want to dance that. I didn't really want to play the music. I was like, I just want to dance that. So about 2010, I took up tango dancing, and that was also, I fell into that too via ballroom dancing. I thought that I was doing tango when we did ballroom tango, and I had some friends there that were like, Liz, that's actually not tango. Come to this dark alley where we danced, real tango, Argentine tango. So that's when I first heard real tango music. Up to that point, it had been Piazzolla. I trained classically at uni, and a lot of people play or think they're playing Piazzolla, and that was the exposure that I had. So it took me a few years to really fall in love with the music. I loved dancing, but the music itself, took a while, and eventually, became completely obsessed. And a few years ago, I ended up joining a group that originally Chloe and Stephen had started called Mendoza Tango Quartet. I haven't really looked back, because for me, it was playing this music that I had been dancing to and listening to for so many years, and it was just deeply embedded in my soul. Like I love it so much, and it's the ultimate of like what I can do with my body physically, but also musically, with my heart and my soul. So tag to Chloe, because obviously her journey started a little bit before mine with tango.
Beautiful.
Yeah, again, classically trained, and had a lot of Piazzolla, and in my master's recital I was looking to do some chamber music, and of course I had Piazzolla's Contrabassissimo, and I just sort of randomly, well, not randomly, I bought Contrabacchiando. It was Piazzolla, and this other guy, Troilo, I didn't know who he was, but I was like, okay, cool, let's play these pieces. And I was like, oh my goodness, I love this music. It really sat with me. And I was playing in a world music group called Mzaza at the time, and Stephen was playing piano accordion, and I was like, we should play tango music, having zero idea that the accordion actually isn't in tango music, because we didn't have people playing. Well, there's like the odd couple playing bandonian in Australia at that time. So that's how the Mendoza Tango Quartet started. Well, the idea started 2013. We didn't actually start it proper till 2014. And then I've just sort of continued on the wild path that is tango. Yeah.
Great. What about you, Rory?
Well, I've come from a jazz background. I recently finished studying a couple of years ago, and since then have delved into a lot of acoustic music, in particular gypsy jazz. And I met Liz at the beginning of this year, and I was had a bit of curiosity with tango, and we started playing, and it was just a lot of fun to be had in all the music, and then more recently with Chloe as well, and they've opened me up to this.
So we just had a
really
fake book
well.
at this point to kind of work through. That's all we still work through. And so to kind of help Rory through understanding the music, it was just like, here's a song, here's a few tracks to listen to, D'Arienzo version, Desali version, whatever. And Rory would come back the next week having learnt, all the bandonian and the bass and the piano parts, because I'm just playing the melody. Because as a duo, obviously, there's not much else you can, do. So it's been really fun having Chloe join us. So there's been this sort of rearrangement of who does what. Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful? All these young people, super initiated and with great initiative to find tango music on their own. And of course, as with all great developments in human history, it usually just starts with one guy or one gal. There's one person that put a seed in all of that. They are not the first band in Australia, so my research tells me. There was a wonderful dancer called Moshlo Shaw about 10, 15 years ago. Is that right? He got so into tango music that he went to Buenos Aires, and he worked with a pianist called Facundo Bericat to transcribe a lot of the favorite tangos, and brought tango to Australia maybe 10, 15 years back. And of course, he was more famous or more known as a dancer at the time. And so live tango music was brought straight to the tango dancers in Australia. I'm saying that because I know you all have studied the situation, the relationship, the interrelationship between musicians and dancers in Australia a lot. And we want to hear about it. So Liz, you've been a dancer first before you're a tango musician. Can you tell us, first of all, do you all play for dancers, and what is it like?
So right now, yes. In the last few years, I feel like it's been the barrier between dancers and musicians has broken down more so. And I really do think that like COVID, the whole period of COVID and just being stuck, just by ourselves, that it's opened up a lot of things really. And it's like, wow, like even if we can't dance to that sort of music, it's just amazing to have live music and people. Isn't it just great to be around people? But yeah, I think when I started dancing 10 years ago, I feel like every time there was live music, the response wasn't always positive, in that it's just not the music that they're used to listening to. It's not the CD and it's not the YouTube clip. And so dancers, I think, can be a little bit like, oh, well, what's that instrument doing there? Or what's that sound? I'm not sure, and so I won't dance. And so when Chloe asked me to play with Mendoza, I was a little bit freaked out because I was like, but is music danceable? Because, the dancers are really picky and I don't want to be a part of something that's not danceable, blah, blah, blah. And, but it's the very first rehearsal with Chloe and Stephen, I was like, oh my goodness, these guys get it. They've actually written out on the page pretty much what I've listened to for years. And there was, at the time, I didn't realize this is what it was, but a thing called fraseo in tango, where you've got your melody written out on the page and it's usually just pretty straight. But if you know the tracks and the recording, you know it's played da 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 da, not da ta 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 ta. And I automatically did that, not really having any idea what I was doing. I was just playing what I heard in my head, and that was comme il faut.
They're like, whoa!
And they were like, whoa, how do you know to play that? And I was like, oh, it's just I'm playing what I'm hearing in my head. So I knew that I was now part of a group that really cared about the music and playing it like it, pretty much used to be played as much as we can. And then since then, it's been this huge journey of how to play all the techniques and spending a bit of time in Portland, for the Tango for Musicians, Ramiro Gasho, getting that book, but also having a lesson with him there and actually finding out how to play accents right in Bahia Blanca. So, yeah, well, I could definitely go on, but
obviously,
I answered that question. Yeah.
Thank you. Obviously, the whole question between dancers and musicians, not only in Australia, as it is throughout all tango communities around the world. But one thing I'm sure is you guys play very well for dancers. Before we talk some more about musicians and dancers, hey, boys and girls, can we hear another song for the dancers? What dance number do we have? Play us another song, would you please?
Corazón de Oro.
Corazón.
Oh, I know that one. I know that one. I know that one.
Yes.
Falsito.
Oh, gotta take this ear off.
Beautiful. I like this version. Speaking of musicians and dancers, we know the needs of some dancers. Some dancers need you to sound exactly like the recording, but with people standing in front, right? I know that. But there are dancers that enjoy fresh interpretations like the one you just played. So am I hearing this right, that you guys parillando a little bit with this one? You're throwing the corazón de oro a little bit on the tango grill and take it up a notch in towards the Brisbane direction. Is that right?
Yeah.
You know,
Sorry, my dad's outside. He's a mower guy, and he's
Hi, Pop.
Starting a whip
Hi,
and
Pop.
snip.
he's trying to start a whippersnapper,
Your
which is
daughter's
a
on
weed,
TV.
Weed
a
whacker.
weed whacker. Yeah, and he was like, "Are you doing? Yeah, we're filming."
No, weed whacker, thank you.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, your version is so creative and so delightful. Obviously, you are trying to walk the fine lines between the needs of dancers and the needs of musicians. I don't hear about this very much, but exactly what needs do you have as a musician? I mean, you know, what kind of needs do you have as a tango musician?
Creativity and expression.
Yeah, what needs do you have, guys? I'm a dancer, so.
She needs to dance. What about you guys?
Rory, that's
Oh.
what I got.
Well, it's I particularly like the performing for dancers. Like, it's nice to have that balance of, like, you're playing, but they're dancing, and that kind of that relationship of the music and the dance is, I think, super important for me. It's a nice energy to feed off in the playing.
How about you, Chloe? Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes,
you
Liz.
Go. No, Chloe, go.
Yeah, it's lovely playing for dancers, especially, you know, when you can see they genuinely enjoy it. And I love sort of being a bit like not that I'm a mum, but like a mum trying to hide vegetables in kids' dinners, and like just introducing some little new ideas. Like, who would have thought the bass could take the melody?
Yeah.
I heard
goodness
that.
me.
That was
What a
great.
concept. Yeah. That's so true. I add that, like, as a violinist, I feel like, you know, like the years of studying classical music, they're difficult, and like you go through the whole thing thinking that you're the worst violinist in the world and you really suck, and there's nothing I can ever do that's going to be right and perfect. And then you graduate, and then you start performing, and, you know, like I did a lot of busking, just, you know, playing in the mall, and just sort of, I joined a few rock orchestras and stuff, and I realized, for me, my dream when it comes to like playing music for people is just about connection and playing music that people really, really love. So for me, the joy ultimately isn't getting to play all these fancy notes or whatever it is. It's like, no. If you love this music, then I really love it too. If I have to play Pachelbel's Canon or Eine Kleine Musik for the 100th millionth time, because it's going to make you happy, but also because you're going to give me some money for it, then I probably will play it for you. So yeah, I actually get a lot of joy out of just playing the music, and as you know, as is. But if people want to be more creative and do different things, then I'm like, okay, let's go for it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So there are dancers that want to hear for the 100th time exactly the transcription of Diezs Felicia, for example, and I'm cool with that. But the thing is, as we're hearing about that, is there are needs for musicians to play slightly different things every now and then. How, as a musician, are you now attempting to bridge that gap? I know you guys are doing something very cool between musicians and dancers. What are you doing to try to bridge sort of that gap so everybody is ecstatic?
What are we doing?
Well,
I was going to say, the way that we make this exciting for us at the moment is doing everything a la Parisha. Like, I don't necessarily play the same thing every time, but because we're playing in a particular way with a particular ultimate, it's like play school. You've got the structure there, but then it's sort of just improvised from there. As long as you've got the general vibe, it actually works. And it is like the broccoli thing hiding. It's like, you know, guys, even though this isn't exactly what you're used to, the feeling is there, and that's actually maybe all that matters.
Tell us about what you do in Brisbane Tango project. Am I recalling this correctly, that you do talk a little before the tandas to explain to people which orchestra is which and what to listen for. What is that project about?
So Conrad Cernier is a fantastic guy in Brisbane. He's a dancer. I think he played a bit of clarinet back in the day, but he has been responsible for organising lots of festivals around Brisbane and different things. But he was always very, very encouraging of Mendoza and musicians that are playing tango. And like for instance, at any sort of tango festival, he we'd be playing for the dancers, but then there'd always be a piazzolla concert. It's like, come on dancers, you need to come to this concert as well and actually sit down and appreciate some good, piazzolla music. And it's hard getting them all there. But, it was lovely having someone like Conrad doing that. Beginning of this year, he approached me and said, Liz, wouldn't it be a great idea if we just had this space for musicians and dancers to feel safe and comfortable sort of being around each other and sharing ideas, especially for musicians to be able to play music that, maybe they're a bit scared to play because the dancers are a bit scary. And so that idea kind of was in January, and then COVID happened and it's all been a bit weird. So since things have opened up a little bit with gigs, we've started doing these shows and these sort of project things within this particular venue in Brisbane, the Montana Art Project. And yes, it's been this really safe, amazing space to play music that maybe people haven't heard before, and then explain what's going on. So Rory and I had set out to learn a lot of dance music, and we'd put the set list in tanda milonga mode. So there's 4 Dasali, there's 3 D'Arienzo, there's some valses, and there's our sort of pugliese / troilo / muscle set. And so that was a really good way of just sort of being able to explain things to anyone coming, whether they were dancers or non-dancers, that, hey, this is actually tango music, and there's lots of different styles when it comes to tango music. You're going to feel a strong beat on 1 and 3 in Dasali, and you're going to feel this 1, 2, 3, 4 beat in D'Arienzo. So yeah, it's been really great to just have a space to do that.
Knowledge is bliss. In this case, knowledge is bliss. So it sounds like Diez Cuerdas with Chloe is advising all of us dancers and non-dancers alike to get to know the tango music more, maybe talk to the musicians, and so we can each learn a little bit about what we do on our side of the work, and perhaps we will open lots of doors and find better places for us. Yes, Chloe?
Yeah. On that note, I feel like I should clarify, because we don't want to offend all the amazing musicians in Australia. So the little tango music history bit was specific to our state of Queensland and our city of Brisbane, because actually there was a duo in Perth over on the western side of Australia that started in like 2000 and had a tango show. There's lots of amazing other groups in Melbourne and Sydney. There's a youth orchestra that Maggie Ferguson started, and they've got they're joined with the Escuela de Tango de Emilio Balcarce. So yeah,
we told our stories. There's 20 years of stuff before us,
and in other states.
Yes, I put down on the chat in the Facebook there that Anne Smith runs a wonderful podcast called Tango Capital, where there are lots of old episodes for you to cruise through the past 25 years of tango history in Australia. Before we run out of time, boys and girls, would you like to play us another song? What do you have?
What do we have?
Well, what better way to finish than something fast?
Yeah.
Milonga.
It's not that fast.
Oh, it's not actually, but it's a milonga. And do we know how to say 900?
I don't.
No. Milonga
Winnie.
del 900
Noveciento, is that right, Santi?
Noveciento.
It might not be.
Oh, sorry, I gotta take a 0.
go to Brisbane.
Yeah, you do.
I want to
Miss
go
it
to
all.
Brisbane. Ah, woo! Yes, before we let you guys go, don't go. I know you have an encore song. Don't go anywhere.
Oh.
There is a concert you guys are playing tonight, aren't there? Would you like to tell us very quickly where and when tonight for our Australian friends listening to you right now?
At David Blair's Brisbane House of Tango at Wong, there will be a milonga. So milonga is like actual dancing with partners and being able to swap, not too readily, I think.
Oh,
is the
sanitizing
rule.
in between.
Sanitizing in between and keeping the social distancing rule if you're not dancing, which seems like an interesting idea. I forgot about this encore. I'm very excited now. Wow.
So that's tonight, is that right? All right. Well,
Yes, right, that's tonight.
write to Diez
Yeah.
Cuerdas on Facebook or write to Winnie. I'm going to send you right there if you are near the hood of Brisbane. And speaking of which, guess what, Australia? Ben and Winnie, along with their Argentine buddy, Asato Pais Duo, sorry. We are playing an intercontinental concert this coming Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We did that so that Australia in Brisbane can watch us at 10:30 a.m. on a Sunday, which is really reasonable for a concert time, isn't it? So this is Ben and Winnie Asato Pais Duo this coming Saturday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And Australia, we would love for you all to come join us to make that intercontinental 3 times over.
Yes.
I want
How
an
long
encore.
does that concert?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Winnie, sorry. How long does your concert go for?
About 1 hour. That concert
Right,
will be
right,
about
right, right.
1 hour, and there's a party afterwards on Zoom. Drinks on board.
Amazing.
Yes.
Our encore is Garua, which means drizzle.
It's about to.
Yeah,
In
it's
Brisbane?
actually about to drizzle.
Yes.
And obviously, once again, this is about a sad guy walking down a road and he's sad because of some girl. Here we go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Garua by Diez Cuerdas with Chloe, a little old Argentine nostalgia, all the way in Brisbane, Australia. Thank you again so much for joining us at 7 o'clock your time, 37
And
very
thank
hot
you
degrees.
so much, Winnie, for allowing this platform. Like, this is incredible. So thank you so much for all the work that you're doing.
Joining the community. Yeah.
Yes. Guys, did you know how small this tango community is? Winnie is going to play with Chloe right there in Brisbane in about 2 months virtually in an all-female tango band. Look at that. And I met Liz and Chloe in Portland, Oregon, the United States. So for all we know, our next gig is going to be in Asia somewhere, and some longer in Korea, you know. So we are together, and thank you so much for showing us what tango is like in Australia. Keep up the good work, boys and girls. Continue to communicate with dancers and musicians, and we'll see you at the next gig.
Thanks, Winnie.
Thank you. Ciao. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.